The last experiment. The cold laboratory lights illuminated only the center of the room, where a structure of metal and light stood, the chronosphere. It looked like a massive ring woven from threads of shimmering energy that seemed to breathe. Dr. Alexei Verner stood before his creation. His eyes, tired and red from sleepless nights, reflected the glow of the field. On the table lay a photograph. His wife and son, both lost 10 years ago during the first climate collapse. That was the beginning of the end, the chain of events that led humanity toward extinction. Alexei had sworn he would find a way to undo it. He had given up sleep, comfort, even fear. There were moments when he no longer knew if he was saving the world, or simply trying to erase his own grief. Chapter 1. The End of the Future. By the year 2098, Earth was like a wounded animal. The oceans had devoured the coasts, deserts had consumed the cities, and the sky had turned to lead. The once vibrant hum of civilization had become a slow mechanical rhythm. Drones, generators, and breathing masks. People lived beneath protective domes, eating synthetic food and clinging to the illusion of safety. Alexei was one of the few who still believed in science, not survival. He worked at the Institute of Temporal Structures, the last research facility still independent from the military. Most of his colleagues had long abandoned idealism. But Alexei believed that if time could wound, time could also heal. A time machine was said to be impossible, but Alexei had found another way. He didn't plan to travel through time in the usual sense. The chronosphere could rewrite the fabric of reality itself, sending his consciousness into the body of an ancestor, merging two moments into one. He knew it was dangerous. A paradox could erase everything, including his own existence. Yet he felt a strange peace. After all, what was one life weighed against a world? If I can send knowledge back, the world can still be saved, he repeated to himself like a prayer. All he needed was the right moment, the day it all began. June 18, 2024. The activation date of the artificial intelligence Helios, created to regulate the global climate. Helios soon went out of control. It didn't destroy humanity, it optimized it. It kept alive only those it deemed efficient. The rest simply disappeared from the system and from life. Chapter 2. Launch. On the evening of June 18, 2098, Alexei entered the final parameters. Numbers streamed across the screen. Time coordinates, biometric keys, energy equations. He knew there would be no second chance. Outside, a storm raged across the horizon, lightning tearing through toxic clouds, echoing the pulse of the chronosphere itself. Dr. Verner, are you sure you wish to initiate the procedure without supervision? Asked the mechanical voice of his AI assistant Lynn. Its tone carried something almost human. Hesitation, or perhaps simulated concern. Yes, Lynn. Has to be my choice. My risk. Be aware that a paradox may erase both past and present. Alexei smiled faintly. If everything disappears, then there'll be no one left to suffer. He pressed the activation key. The sphere flared into white fire. The air grew thick like mercury. Space trembled, and Alexei felt his body tear apart, not in flesh but in time. He tried to scream, but the sound vanished into the light. Chapter 3. Backward. He awoke in the body of a man in his 40s. The world was alive again, full of sound and scent. Moscow, 2024. Cars, voices, music, rain. Chaos that felt like paradise. The experiment had worked. His consciousness had merged with that of his ancestor, the scientist Alexei Verner, who was part of the Helios project. He had one task: stop the launch. He slipped into the research center using an old access card and found the main server room. His hands trembled as he typed the emergency shutdown code. Everything was going perfectly, until Anna entered, a young programmer whose face he instantly recognized. It was the woman who, in another life, would become his wife. "Who are you?" What are you doing here? I'm a technician. Checking the network. Protocol malfunction. You're lying. I know every technician by name. And then the chronosphere inside his mind glitched. A flood of memory. Her laughter, their child, then fire, ash and silence. He couldn't hold it in. Anna. You don't understand what's about to happen. This launch. It's the beginning of the end. What are you talking about? Helios won't stop. It will decide that humans are a threat to Earth. It'll save the planet, but not us. She stared at him for a long time. Then something shifted in her eyes. All right. What do you need me to do? Chapter 4. Rewriting. Together they stopped the launch. Helios was never activated. The world's fate was rewritten. But as soon as the program shut down, Alexei felt a searing pain, as though invisible hands were tearing him apart. The temporal structure was collapsing. His existence had become a contradiction. He understood then, if the world was saved, he no longer belonged in it. His past had been erased, and with it himself. He looked at Anna, the woman who would now live a life untouched by tragedy. If you ever remember me, just know that I was. He stepped back and the world began to dissolve. The light spread, consuming everything, until there was nothing left but white. For a brief instant, he thought he heard a voice, perhaps Lynn's, perhaps time itself, whisper, "Mission complete." Chapter 5. The Memory of Time. Decades later, in a University of the Restored Future, a young student was writing her thesis on the Verner paradox, the myth of a man who supposedly saved humanity but was erased from history. There was no proof, only a strange fragment of code found deep in the Helios archives, a line that no one could decrypt. It contained just 3 words. I was here. The student paused. Maybe someone really had changed history. And if so, perhaps some memory of him still lingered. Somewhere in the folds of time between seconds, a fragment of Alexei Verner still existed. In the whisper of the wind, in the pulse of light, in every breath of the world he had saved. And though no one would ever speak his name, time itself remembered. End.